Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today another another opening of another window of the Inkvent Calendar. Today is kind of a special day, not really special, but it is a different day. I don't give it too much importance, but it is my birthday today. So let's see if Diamine gave me a gift and I have a very nice ink for today. That's what we're going to see. But if it's not that nice, okay, no problem. I usually don't even celebrate my anniversary. It's just another day. But it ends up to be somehow always a little bit more special than the other day. So let's see what is behind door number 9. At least it is a dark ink, so I think I may like it. It seems to be a very dark blue. Let's hope it is, and it has shimmer. I usually don't use shimmer inks too much, but there is one ink of the previous calendar, which is the solstice, that I really love. So we have here lots of gray silver shimmer in a dark blue ink. This one may be interesting. Let's see right now. So let's see how this storm ink behaves on paper. Let me just put here this little protector of the next page. This is a shimmering ink, so I need to do this to shake the particles. And now let's take 3 drops of ink. 1, 2, 3. And let me close the bottle. Put it here next to the swatch. Now the Victorinox knife. And let's spread the ink. I can see the shimmer now, so I think this will be quite interesting, because not every time the shimmering or the shimmer is visible in the moment you are swatching the ink. So this is it. I will let it dry and I'll be right back to show you the rest of the review. So here I am with the Storm review. So about this Storm ink, this is quite an interesting ink in my opinion. And it is interesting because it is another ink that I really enjoy. And it's fun because I enjoy the ink and I enjoy the name of the ink. And it is nice when you enjoy both things, and when you also enjoy looking at the shimmer mixing with the ink. Okay, but let's stop that. The Storm is an interesting ink because it has shimmer, as I told you, but the shimmer is like this. It is a blue ink, again this kind of old dusty blue ink with a silver shimmer, which is interesting. So I would say that this Storm is closely related with Tempest, and I will show you what I mean. So here we have the Storm, and I will get here the ink for the number 4, which was the Tempest, and you will see both are that kind of blue, like a kind of an old blue. This is kind of vintage blue black, and this is kind of a vintage royal blue, which are a little dusty, and one has this greenish gold shimmer and the other one has a silver shimmer. But I would say that the inks are comparable. I'm not saying that they are similar, but they have some aspects in common. Now I want to compare them with also the ink from Inkvent Calendar 2019. Again, the Solstice, which I showed you before, which is kind of a dusty brown ink or grayish ink with green shimmer. And I have to say that these three inks are really, really interesting. Again, for comparison, I brought here the Diatramentis document ink dark blue, which has the same kind of dusty blue. This is the Aquamarine, Pelikan Edelstein Aquamarine, which is a dusky blue but more in a turquoise, and also the Kaveco Royal Blue, which is very similar to that one, but I would say this is more intense. So this is how the ink compares. I would say it is close enough to Kaveco Royal Blue, but then you have that twist of the shimmer that gives it a very, very nice touch. Now, I want to show you the chromatography of this ink, which is here. Oops. And the chromatography will show us that the ink doesn't have a lot of water resistance. I would say this is mostly the shimmer that remained there, and then all is pushed up, and you have this magenta and kind of a cyan color in the composition of the ink. For this ink review, I chose two pens again, so lots of pens with ink currently. And I chose two pens very, very different from each other. One is the Chinese Fully One 017, and it is an interesting pen. This color is called Starry Night, I think, based on Van Gogh's painting. It has a Fully One medium nib. It is a resin pen and it's quite big, I would say. It has a nice material. And the other pen is the Kaveco Cyan, just to match that kind of color there. And this is the Kaveco Collection Cyan, which is a new release. And this one has a double broad nib. So, let me show you how these two pens made the ink behave on paper. And so we have here the usual Moleskine paper that I ripped from an old agenda. We have the Oxford Optic paper and the Navigator copy paper. So in the Moleskine paper we have the ink and some sheen is really visible. And I think you can see it. It's more visible with the cyan, but the cyan being a double broad, it's not a nib that works with this kind of paper, which is not fountain pen friendly. But I think it's important to show you papers that are not fountain pen friendly. So there is some feathering, but you can really, really see the shimmer, and the color is quite well reproduced on this cream paper, but you can see through. Then we have this copy paper also with bleed through, and usually on the copy paper the shimmer is not that visible, and I think it's the case here, although I cannot see it here. I cannot see it on the Fully One, but when we go to the Kaveco, we can see on the last letters, on some letters of the words, you can see in some letters the shimmer. And it is nice because it's kind of a silver one, and I think it looks nice, and it doesn't not distract from the overall color. But because it's not evenly distributed, at least throughout this paper, it seems some words have more shimmer, so the color seems a little bit different. Then we have the Oxford Optic paper, which is usually a very good paper, non-absorbent, so sometimes we can see shimmer better on this paper and sheen better on this. So we can have here both swatches, and the color is much more intense on the Oxford paper. And let's search for shimmer, and yes, you can see it there. Now this is the fully one, very hard to see, but then we go into the Kaveco and you can see the shimmer, and I would say it is evenly distributed throughout all words. But with the fully one, it's not very visible. Sometimes you can see some sparkling parts, but not as much as in the broad nib, which is expected. Overall, the ink behaves quite well. There is no bleed through. There are a little bit here on the margin, but maybe I put more pressure there because otherwise there aren't any troubles with that. So this ink really behaves well in good paper, and you can see the shimmer. But the shimmer is very, very classy because it's not right into your eyes. It's still a blue ink, but then you can see it has a silver shimmer. Now, we will see how it behaves on Rhodia paper, which is the paper of the swatch, and also these. And here we will have, first, let's try to find the shimmer. And again, really hard to see. This was written with fully one. And there you can see that the drying time is quite long, around 50 seconds to get really dry. And then the water test is as it shows here. There is a very faint line, but every other part of the color goes away. You can see a very faint line, but most of the color runs away. So it's not really water resistant. Now let's just make the usual word with both pens. First with the fully one, and the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. This is the fully one with medium nib. Now let's go to the Kaveco with the double broad nib. And the quick brown fox jumps over. There is a little fiber of the background here. The lazy dog. And let's see, this will not be dry yet, but let's see the shimmer. So, about the shimmer, we can see it with the Kaveco in this angle, and you can see just a little bit with the fully one. So, much more with the double broad than with medium. I would say that the difference between this medium and this double broad is not that extreme, but I would say this ink only works in a more in a wetter pen with a wider line. However, sometimes I think that may not be the only detail that makes these inks work. I think the feed has a big importance because there are feeds that will allow the shimmer to go through its channels and write well, and there are other pens in which the feeds will not allow that ink and will start to have some skipping and ink starvations because the shimmer is clogging the nib, the feed. So maybe this is kind of the case. I saw that with the Moonman and some other ink which I don't remember now, but with the Moonman M600 we found that the shimmer was not going through. So maybe this is the same kind of problem, I don't know, but if you use a Kaweco double broad nib, it really works. I'm sorry, but I cannot make extensive tests by using extra fine, medium broad, double broad nibs just to have the test of all of them. That would be perfect, but I cannot really just spend that amount of time making these videos. So this is it with two different nibs and they behave differently. So this is a very interesting ink that is also in my top of the inks of this Inkvent calendar. So see you tomorrow. Bye.